God. Hey, Doc Rabbit, there you go. Find a better angle. Yeah, I'm right, man. Camera angle's going to be a bit squiffy while I get this whole system worked out. Eli. Wish I could show what my current setup looks like. I'm currently working around the stand of the camera. Got my elbow hanging up in the middle of nowhere. My head's basically bouncing off the light fitting. Hey, Dylan. Yeah, working on the other side of the top guard. I'm only going to get about an hour, I reckon, in today, but, you know, progress is progress. How you going, Eli? Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Plodding away. One long straight line after another. Hopefully get these two lines cut tonight. I'd probably have them cut a lot sooner if it wasn't for the fact that I kind of need to get these really deep and really wide so that they accept the wire that I'm going to input in them. So while each line I can cut in, you know, however long this is going to take me, a few minutes, it's then the recut and the recut and the recut and the recut after that. The refinements needed for the inlay. That's why when people are like, how many hours of engraving do you reckon you've got on this? It's like about 40. Oh, shite. My engravers are made from W1 tool steel. And yeah, like as you say, the best angle for the camera is the one where my face is at. So. And unfortunately, GoPros just aren't good at capturing this kind of footage. Realistically, the best engraving videos come from people who have like microscopes that have the ability to like attach a camera, but I don't have $4,000 for a microscope setup. You know, ignore my entirely messy bench. There's one rough line cut in. And these are literally this is just literally a chasing line for the bigger gravers to come into for the inlay. Got to remember not to whisper because I've got the camera in my face, but the camera is not the microphone. The microphone is across the desk. And there's good reason for that, because if it was right here, the sound of the hammer would drown me out. This graver is getting very dull. So it's always funny to me that you can have a graver that is dull, but it looks pretty normal on camera. When you flip it over and you get the light just in the right spot, and you can see like that dull patch on the tip, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to angle it right. Yeah, there you go. See that little white spot on the end of the graver? That's not the good. And the amount of where's my 240 plate? This is my problem. I put things down and then I can never find them again. I got my 1200 plate here. That'll do. For this mission, it will do. Yeah, these cheapy eBay diamond plates. They're pretty good. I don't think they'll last very long from the feel of them, but they do the job serviceably well for what I need them for. So I'll make do. Pulls. 4 pulls. Doesn't quite get us a tip. At this rate, I'm going to turn this into a bloody keyboardy rather than a European style graver. I feel like it chiseled the heel off. At last, my love is coming on. I'm definitely getting demonetized one of these days. I bought a 240 grit plate specifically for this. Can I find it when I need it? Nah. That'd make too much sense. And that's being stopped by the camera mount. Oh, it's in there anyway. Alrighty. Just keep going. I'm almost tempted to plug in the Do I have a sanding disc for the Fulham? I do, but not a good one. There we go. Yeah, I mean, 80 grit's a bit ridiculous. The highest, the lowest I'll go, not highest, the lowest I'll go is about 240. 240 is plenty aggressive. Anything more than that, and I'm taking it to a grinder. just bugger the stones. Just go to the grinder. In this case, I'm going to use my rotary tool and a sanding disc on a sanding attachment. This is my Fordham rotary tool, pedal operated rotary tool. And I'm going to use this to shape. Yeah, that'll do. And then I can just refine it with the stone. That nice polished. Face. Not quite flat. That should not be surprising. Only problem I foresee with these plates is that the grit seems to rub off them really easy. I'm not sure how they attached the diamond grit, but it's not very sturdy. Yeah, with grit that big, without the amount of pressure, like without a significant amount of pressure, you're not going to be able to get that steel to bite. It's all about surface area. There we go. Getting close. Not quite there yet. That should do. That'll do it. Whew. To fix the camera angle a little bit. Yeah, this graver is dead. Can't tell if she's mashed or if she's sheared. Yeah, she's sheared. That's no good. Mashed I can fix. Sheared, not so much. I just need it to survive this cut, so I'm gonna get real aggressive with it. That'll do. Big old 60-degree face on it. Real shallow heels because I'm only cutting a straight line. Real shallow face. Real aggressive. At this point, you're doing less cutting, more mashing. That's all right. Okay, Syrah, whatever will be, will be. There we go. Tips all much better now. I do tend to use more aggressive grinds on my steel cutting bits, but sometimes aggressive isn't what you want. Most of my gravers, I start them off with a copper cutting geometry, the old 45-15, 60-degree. The Ford Allen's preferred angle for his gravers. It works well for most things. I never have a problem with like the kata kiri and the shushii body when doing steel work, but keyboardy just do not like it as much. The light is coming from the same angle as the camera, so it's kind of awkward. Taking out the shadow. It's the one thing, fun thing with this hammer, because it's made out of threaded rod. Every time I miss the tool, you can hear it go. I dove in on that one. This is going to be a big cut. Commit to the bit. Do it for the bit. All right. 2 somewhat straight lines cut. And this graver has lost its heel again. I might have to retire this one. Or just make a bunch more. It'll be fine for copper, I'm sure. So this is a proper Japanese keyboardy style engraver. Much better at fine detail lines, but this heavy work tends to bugger it pretty quick. We shall see how it holds up. I am being like overly aggressive with the gravers. You should not be hitting them this hard. I'm using them as chisels at this stage, which is not what they're designed to do. And that's partially because the depth of the cut is what warrants the power, but also it's because I'm, impatient. Back to my European. Just gotta do the ill-advised thing again. Gonna make sure I'm not overheating my tip. Oops, I just ran off the tip. They actually make diamond discs specifically to do this with a rotary tool. I don't have those, so make do with what I got. Because I'm using it more like a chisel anyway. No one cares if I beat the crap out of it. Aggression, which is the only thing I know. But once I get this pass done, I can then transfer over to the 180, 120 degree or 110 degree cavalry and widen the hole. The last two lines took me about 45 minutes in total. This has only taken me 28 so far, so we're on track. When people ask me to do like how-tos on engraving and stuff, I'm like, I am not a good engraver. There are way better engravers out there that do courses than me. I mean, Ford Allen has an entire video suite on YouTube here about engraving, and that's where I learned half of my shit anyway. My lesson would be like, Sam, how do you engraving? Don't do anything that you see me do. You see me do it, do the opposite. Right, well, that's that done. Now we switch over from the European style graver to the roughly 110 degree keyboarding style. To widen the hole. Because while the Western style gravers are good, well, that Western style graver is a 90-degree graver, or a little bit less than a 90-degree graver. It's good for depth, it's not good for width. We want the width. We're trying to sink some fairly substantial wire. You really don't want to use a wide graver like this for deep cuts in the initial, because there's so much surface contact with the graver face. So doing a pre-cut with a much shallower faced graver means that the cutting is only being done by the edges of this graver, not the actual tip. So you're less likely to break your tip off in engraving. And you have to use significantly less force, which is also good. Do have to travel back over my cuts occasionally. In the European tradition, sometimes this would be done with a flat graver, and I'm kind of wishing I'd done it with a flat graver, to be honest, at this stage. Like, it would have made a hell of a lot easier. But I started down this path. God damn it, I'm going to finish on this path. Oh, I'm on Top Chat. Got a live chat. Have I missed anything? Nope. All good. Hello, everyone who's watching. If there is anyone watching who wishes to engage, interact, by all means, you don't have to. You can remain anonymous. I appreciate you all the same. Coming along. I'm trying to pay attention to which way I angle the graver, because if you lay the graver over at one angle or the other, you can affect the way that the channel is cut. And that can affect the way your inlay goes. So I'm trying to keep it square, straight up and down. Let's just quickly check edges. Tip. I'm actually doing pretty good. She's still alive. It's good. So we can carry on. Let's have a look at this cut from the other way. How's it look? Yeah, not too bad. Not too shabby. Alrighty, get onto this cut then. The really interesting part's going to be making the cuts match around the outside. Sorry, Ford, I'm choking the lizard. And I will attempt not to. Ding. Fries are done. Ding. Fries are done. Would you like an apple pie with that? I might go live over on Insta after this and do a bit of singing just to get my mind off things. What do you reckon? Anyone be keen to hear me warble for a while? It's been a while since I've done one, and that's purely because I've been terrified to do it, given that I haven't been keeping up with doing actual work. And I got called out for it by a friend of mine, and it has stuck in my head ever since. Every time I think about doing it, I'm like, oh, I should be doing something else. So I end up not doing it at all. Because I'm petrified that I'm doing the wrong thing. Sometimes you just got to do the stuff that you enjoy. Pretty sure the edge on this draper is fucked. Yeah, the edges aren't too bad. It's just worn down enough that it's causing a bit of friction. Is the chat just not working, or like am I just not receiving chat, or is no one chatting? Like, you know, both are possible. I'm just wondering. Gonna have to log in on my phone and check. I see the reactions coming through, so I'm like, I'm not sure if that means that the chat is working or. Is the chat working? Heart for yes, 100 for no. Hey, Thomas. Okay, hearts. Hearts. It's good. How you going, Tom? Right, I think that's the width that I need. Yeah. That'll do nicely. And I'm just going to make the cut match up around the edge. The challenging bit. basically going to eye this in because there's no way to mark it out accurately without making using a height gauge, which I don't have. So not very securely held. Needs to come over just a little bit. Angle that graver yarn. Yeah, I bet, man. I bet. Okay. Get in here. I'm trying to figure out which way to orient the camera. It's great. Love it. All right. Carry on this line. Up and over. Flip her basically on her back. Resist the temptation to grab the Dremel cut-off wheel and just cut this damn line in. Sorry, guys. I know it's not the greatest camera work. I'm more focused on the engraving. How dare I? So, okay. How's our edge looking? Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Side. Oops. Oh, that's ugly. That's all right. It's just like me. UGLY, you ain't got no alibi, you ugly. Anyone remember that song? Or am I just old? I mean, two things can be true at once. And I'm sure if my friend Tamsin was here, they would gleefully inform me that I am definitely old. So much bouncy camel, you could call me Ridley Scott. Now, Sam, let's not start ranting about Napoleon again. You know a movie's bad when part of you wants to start a movie review channel just to have or be able to have a rant about a specific movie. Still a young buck, but for how long? Oh, God. Any more shaky cam, we go from Ridley Scott to Michael Bay. Hopefully with less explosions. Hit with the front of the hammer, Sam. You know that bit that's meant to hit things with? Yeah. Hit it with that bit. There'll always be a point where I'm wondering why the chisel is shooting sideways every time I hit it. And it takes me a few hits to realize that it's because I'm hitting with the back end of the hammer, and all that's happening is that it's skating off and throwing the chisel out sideways. Yeah. I see YouTube is doing the ad roulette thing. What kind of ads are people getting? Anything interesting? Male enhancement pills. Email enhancement pills. Bom, bom, bom. Ave Maria. It's one side. So yeah, the cuts go all the way around, but then they stop. So I've got to do the other side. Surely there's an easier way. There is, it's just expensive. That's it. I need to start an OnlyFans and find some like eccentric multi-billionaire who's willing to just throw money at me to debase myself on a regular basis. So that I can afford engraving equipment. I don't believe you because you are the definition of young. Sounds like the dream, yeah. It's not really. The dream would be to, not have to debase myself on a regular basis just to be able to afford to live. The dream would be to have such a said eccentric billionaire, instead of wanting me to debase myself, just come up to me and go, "Hey, here's $1 million. Go nuts." I've got several thousand of them full. It is incredibly difficult. It's something that, like, it seems intuitively simple. Like you're just carving metal away. But it is, and depending on the route you take. Yes, the straight line, the bane of every engraver. Making straight lines around corners is the hard bit, as I am presenting. But like, it really does depend on the avenue you take in engraving and the scale at which you're engraving. Like, I am a large-scale engraver, what I consider a large-scale engraver. I engrave large surfaces. I am probably more akin to a metal carver than a traditional engraver. The way I approach my engravings is very much like wood carving. Whereas in like traditional engraving, especially push graving and pneumatic and electric graving, you're doing it on much smaller scales. Like in the majority of cases, you're taking cuts that are, because it is blue, because it's got die-chem on it. You're taking cuts that are like, 0.1 of a millimeter deep. Whereas with me, I'm taking between 0.5 and 1 millimeter deep cuts in single passes on a lot of my initial cuts. So compared to a modern like gun engraver or something like that, I am a hack. That's not to say I don't do fine work. It's just that my fine work is done after I have hacked away half a kilo of steel. And that's the way I like to work, There's nothing inherently good or bad about it. I've had words with engravers who are like, "What you do isn't real engraving." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. If you want to hold tight to your tradition and call me a fake engraver, that's cool. You do you, boo." I don't care. It takes time, man. It takes time. One of the biggest mistakes that people make, and it's one that I make on a regular basis, is taking too deep a cut. The other one is not learning how to draw. Drawing is one of the hardest parts of engraving. And I suck at drawing and I suck at engraving. The other one is getting your geometries right. Like, there's a lot of wiggle room for geometry in engravers, as I can attest, because my engravers are anything but traditional in their geometry types. And I regularly adjust them on the fly as I'm going, this is a little too hard to cut through. I'm going to increase my geometry angle. And I'm not using a fixture, I'm just sharpening by hand. So my adjustment can be between like a 5-degree change or a 50-degree change. It really does depend on what my needs are in the moment. Yeah, getting your graders down is a real key. I spent a long time, many months, watching Ford Hallam's videos. That man can do things with Japanese style gravers that I would only dream of. And he has like full breakdown videos on how to make and maintain Japanese style gravers, which is where I really got my start into making pepits, Japanese gravers. Okay, hitting the light fitting. Apparently I have an issue with that light fitting. It said a naughty word about my mum. In which case I should be thanking it, but never mind. All right. So that's it. That's the whole ball game. I know it wasn't much, but I only planned on spending an hour, so here we are. It's an hour later. We've got the engraving lines. There's the die-cam layout fluid. The inlay lines traced all the way around, ready to accept the silver. My next step, I'm kind of tossing up. I think my next step will be to cut the lettering on one side and then cut the undercuts for everything, inlay the one side, flip it over, inlay the next. I don't know, because it needs to be a continuous inlay around the entire edge. I'm going to toss it up in my mind as to the process by which I do this. It could be that I inlay these in their entirety and then cut the letters and inlay them individually afterwards, but then I risk damaging the inlay. Or I cut the lettering, then do the undercuts for the inlay that, then do the undercuts in the engraving for the lettering, and then inlay the lettering. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, sweet. So next step, cut the lettering, which means I've got to lay out more stuff, and then inlay the silver, and then inlay the Nordic gold and the silver lettering. Cool. But that's me for now. So thank you very much for hanging out, guys. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hopefully, I will see you very soon. I'll have another forging stream in the next few days. So if you're interested in that, check me out on Instagram at Bladesmith. I have polls over there on my stories asking what I should be getting up to forging. I already have a challenge for this week, so and it's going to be really interesting because it was inspired by or asked for by one of my all-time favorite smiths ever. So super excited for that. But anyway, with that being said, have a great night. Bye-bye.